Guys, what's up? Welcome back to Top Everything. So today I'll be telling you about top 5 exorcisms in real life. Before we move forward, when we think about this topic, one question pops up in our mind, and that is, are demons real? Though evil spirits possessing the body of a helpless human victim seems like the stuff of science fiction, the possibility of being possessed by a demon is in fact a common belief held by religions around the world. Even the Christian Bible alludes to demonic possession more than 30 times, including several cases of Jesus casting out demons from people. Most religions offer prayers, spells, or incantations that are used to remove these invading spirits via exorcism rituals. As it may be to believe, countless accounts by victims and witnesses dating back to ancient times are hard to ignore. Let's explore 5 cases of truly scary and by all accounts real demonic possession. Before I move further, I just wanted to tell you that I was only able to collect few of the photographs and only one audio for all these cases. The first case that comes in is Clara Germana Sell. In 1906, Clara Germana Sell was a Christian student at St. Michael Mission in Natal, South Africa. For some reason, Sell prayed and made a pact with Satan when she was 16 years old, and just days later, Sell was overtaken by strange impulses. She was repulsed by religious artifacts like crucifixes. She could speak and understand several languages of which she had no previous knowledge, and she became clairvoyant regarding the thoughts and histories of the people around her. Nuns who attended to Cell reported that she produced horrible animalistic sounds. She also levitated up to 5 feet in the air. Eventually, 2 priests were brought in to perform an exorcism. Cell tried to strangle one of the priests with his stole, and over 170 people witnessed her levitating as the priest read scripture. Over the course of 2 days, the rites of exorcism successfully drove the dark spirits from her body. The second case is of Annalisa Michel. Annalisa Michel is a controversial case as well as the subject of many fictional accounts of her tragic story, most notably the 2005 courtroom drama, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. 16-year-old Annalisa Michel had a history of epilepsy and mental illness for which she had often been treated as a psychiatric hospital. However, in 1973, Michelle became suicidal, spurned all religious artifacts, drank her own urine, and began to hear voices. Medicine did nothing to help the girl, who begged her family to bring in a priest because she believed that she was possessed by demons. Though her request was rejected, 2 local priests secretly began treating her with exorcism rites. Meanwhile, her parents stopped treating her epilepsy and mental disorders. She was dead within a year. Michelle had almost 70 exorcisms performed on her over the course of 10 months. She refused to eat and often talked of dying as a martyr. Many of the attempted exorcisms were recorded.
Welches noch?
Das sag ich Ihnen nicht.
Im Namen Jesu
Nein!
befehle ich dir,
Nein!
im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des
Ja, deshalb noch doch nicht!
Sandaviano. Ja, das ist Familie.
Ihr könnt's auch nicht machen. Scheiß euch, was die doof schreien. Nein! Sie Drecksau, sie verflucht! Das ist unnahbar und grausam ist. Grausam! Sie Drecksau, sie verflucht! Der das ganze Deutschland verführt, oder? Ja, der ist ja noch drin.
Im Namen des dreifaltigen Gottes und aller Todesbringender Maria, sagt die Wahrheit.
Melissa Michelle died from emaciation and starvation. Consequently, her parents and the priest responsible were charged with negligent homicide. The third case is of Exorcism of Roland Doe, known as the real story behind the novel and Hollywood movie The Exorcist. The tale of 14-year-old Roland Doe is one of the most notorious stories of demonic possession. In fact, Roland Doe is not his real name, it's a pseudonym assigned to him by the Catholic Church in order to preserve the boy's privacy. In the late 1940s, Doe's aunt encouraged him to use a Ouija board, and many speculate that after her death, the boy attempted to contact his aunt with the Ouija board, an act which opened the door for the demons who wished to possess him. The possession started with strange sounds like dripping water that no one could place. Eventually, religious artifacts began to quake and fly off the walls, and unexplained footsteps and scratching noises could be heard around the home. Scratches began to appear on the boy's body, including words that seemed to have been carved into his flesh by unseen claws. The boy spoke in tongues in a guttural voice and levitated in the air with his body controlled in pain. His family brought in a Catholic priest who determined that the boy was possessed by evil spirits and needed an exorcism. The exorcism ritual was performed over 30 times, with the boy enjoying the priest many times throughout. When at last the rite was successful, the entire hospital heard those cries of bestial anguish and reported a horrible sulfuric odor hanging in the door. The fourth case is of Julia. In 2008, Dr. Richard E. Gallagher, a board-certified psychiatrist and associate professor of clinical psychiatry at New York Medical College, documented the case of a patient nicknamed Julia, whom he deduced was indeed possessed by demons. It's rare that a scientist and a psychiatrist would acknowledge the possibility of possession. Typically, doctors think that possession is either fraudulent or a result of mental illness. Dr. Gallagher personally observed items flying around the room, Julia levitating off the bed, speaking in tongues, and knowing things about people around her that she could not possibly have known. Here is an excerpt from Gallagher's statement. Periodically, in our presence, Julia would go into a trance state of recurring nature, writes Gallagher. Mentally troubled individuals often dissociate, but Julia's trances were accompanied by unusual phenomena. Out of her mouth would come various threats, tones, scatological language, phrases like "leave her alone, you idiot," "she's ours," "leave, you impeccable priest," or just "leave." The tone of this voice differed markedly from Julia's own, and it varied, sometimes sounding guttural and vaguely masculine, at other points high-pitched. Most of her comments during these trances or at the subsequent exorcism displayed a marked contempt for anything religious or sacred. The fifth case is of Arne Cheyenne Johnson. Known as the Demon Murder Trial, the case of Arne Cheyenne Johnson is the first known court case in the United States during which the defense attempted to prove that the defendant was not guilty by reason of possession. In 1981, Arne Cheyenne Johnson murdered his landlord Alan Bono in Connecticut. Johnson's attorneys argued that his actions indicated a pattern of erratic behavior that had begun when Johnson was just a child. Johnson's family had even consulted with demonologist Edie and Lauren Warren, saying that the child had been taunted and harassed by unknown entities for most of his life. They also asserted that his evil doings resulted not from a psychological disorder but from demonic possession. Ultimately, the judge ruled that demonic possession was not a valid defense against first-degree murder. Johnson was convicted and served a mere 5 years of his 10 to 20-year sentence. These were some 5 real exorcisms. If you like my video, subscribe to my channel and hit that like button below.